Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's literally been forever since I did a video. I just had a lot going on this year and unfortunately YouTube kind of fell off because of that. But I wanted to do a flip through of the planners that I have used this year and then just kind of go into what I was thinking to use for next year. So I started off, which I think I did a flip through of, I started off with my Hobonichi cousin in January, and this was perfect because I had just moved in to my new house and I needed the space for all the notes. But then, as also what happened in the past, I realized that it was too much space and not so much too much space, it's just that I didn't need an entire page for every day. And because of that, I found myself wandering to something else. So I'll do another flip through of that. So I basically use the monthly for kind of future planning. I also use the weeklies for that. And yeah, I literally only lasted till March. So the monthlies are empty until that point or after that point. Then, okay, so that's where I started. And I was using the weeklies just as a weekly to-do list. I always have my menu of for the week and to-dos for the week, and I marked off work with a highlighter and then put to-dos that I could do during work in the middle, and then other things that I was doing during the day, either before or after work, and that worked well. And then I wash heat or sectioned off the bottom because nothing was going on at midnight to 4 a.m. So I just put other things that I might have had to do that day that didn't have a specific time. And I kind of, for the first time, the vertical spread was able to work for me. In the past, it kind of confused me because I didn't have a specific time I needed to do each task. But what I did is I just kind of looked at it as more of a general overview, and that helped me. Okay, so then these are the dailies. And like I said, there's only 3 months of dailies in here. And I had a lot of notes going on, like I got into plants, so most of this is notes on plants when I watered them, how much they needed. But then I kind of got into a routine with that and didn't need to write it down anymore. But like I had a lot of days where I really didn't need the daily, and it was kind of, well, it was repetitive for the weekly, and if I didn't have a lot going on, I didn't really need to write it twice because I had the weekly to look out for my to-dos. And then, yeah, a lot of blank pages, which usually is what kind of turns me off from the cousin, is when I start having like endless blank pages. I really don't mind a couple of blank pages, like who cares, but when half the month is blank because I don't need this much space, it's kind of annoying. Yeah, and then that is the end of that, which is sad because I love watching, like Lindsay Scribbles had beautiful, she actually inspired me to do the cousin for this year. And her cousins are beautiful and she keeps up with them in an amazing way. I think she does more journaling, which I don't tend to do a ton of, so maybe that's where I go wrong with the dailies. So I wound up downsizing to the Wonderland 222, which, let me make sure I'm in frame still. And this basically is a similar layout to the cousin with the vertical, but it doesn't have the dailies. It has notes pages in the back, which you could set up as dailies, but it doesn't have the entire year dated in dailies. There are some spreads in here that I didn't know what to use for or didn't have a reason. Basically, these spreads, I tracked my workouts and measurements and stuff because I was getting into a different fitness routine, so I wanted to keep track of that. There's a lot of stickies just because I don't want the internet knowing my measurements, I guess. But I tracked my period with a highlighter, the different workouts I did and different measurements on the side. And I like measured like once or twice a month. And then that worked out really well. I liked having a separate designated space for that so I can kind of look at the year in a glance or the month in a glance. And then I started using this one in March. So the way this is set up, it's not all the monthlies in the front and then the weeklies. It's the monthlies interspersed with the weeklies. Okay, so yeah, I started here. And same exact thing as my cousin. I made my list of to-dos. There's like an overview in between each month. Then this is April, so I do a monthly to-do list, an overview of the month, and then more weeklies. And basically they were just kind of to-do lists for me, like through the day. Another overview. Another monthly. And then this, I started using more stickers here. I had time to get more into my planners again. And then I started, actually, I saw a video from the Tiny Journaler, and she totally inspired me to jump back into the B6stology with her entire setup. So this is where I set it up. I stopped planning. Yeah, I stopped planning here. I have a few future dates. I'll flip through the notes sections. I really just use this for rough notes and planning my workouts. Like I rewrote them probably 16 times to see what was working for me and what I like to do. And that was the end of those notes. I really don't even think I needed dailies because the vertical was working really well for me at the time. I didn't have a ton to do. So that was that. And then I set up my Stalogy, which I have been in since whatever month. Which month did I start that? June, July? Yeah. So basically I copied this exactly from the Tiny Journaler. You should absolutely check out her video. It's great. It took a long time to set up because I kind of set it up in 2 days, but it took hours to write everything out. But once I had it set up, I was really happy I did. And yeah, so I'll go ahead and show you what she did. She might have had a few different tweaks, but basically I put in the front a future log. So for 2021 and 2022. So all planning for 2022 I just have here. She did this beautiful vision board, which I did my own take of. So basically I set up columns with different areas in my life and just little like an inspo board, I guess, like something like Pinterest, with some quotes and goals and pictures. This took a long time. I don't know if I'm going to do that again, even though I love the way it looks. I don't know if I'm going to do it again. I did a running monthly to do track my fitness, and that worked really well. I highlighted when I was in the gym and then left blank, like if I was walking or doing something at home. Track my period by highlighting on the side, and then did measurements over here. And then I injured myself at the end of August, which has been a struggle. Still dealing with it. I tore a ligament in my SI joint, and I'm a really active person, so it's been like a little bit of a mental struggle to get through. And I finally see a little bit of the light. It's just taking a long time. If you know, any sort of ligament injury can take months before you feel good, especially in your back. You're using it all the time. So I didn't really get to track, and that was frustrating. I kind of dropped my planner, you'll see, during that time, because I use my planner for, inspiration, something to keep me on track for my goals and things like that. And I just felt like that all went away when I got injured. So I put it to the side, but I was able to pick it back up once I started to feel a little bit better, which is nice. So I started tracking basically really low impact workouts. And I'm going to continue tracking, and just to help keep me motivated to deal with the healing process. I set that up for the year. I did a wins section and goals section. So these were my goals, and then these are the wins. So like if I succeeded in the goals or had other wins, I'll put them here. I put them here, and that was nice to have and look back on. These I just had blank sticky notes. And then I set up all of my monthlies for the rest of the year. So I started this in July and I have through to December. And same thing, I use my monthly as like an overview. I have to do this month. I put on the right goals this month, just things to keep in mind. And that worked really nicely. Here I was away. This is when I got injured. So again, like I did not really plan. And the end of August, September, October was kind of scarce. This is this month and then next month. And then these are the weeklies. So the weeklies I set up for the rest of the year. So I set them up, yeah, literally till January. And then in the back is an index section and notes section. So basically these are all my weekly spreads. I loved how she had this. It seemed like enough space for me. I didn't need the vertical time, like the timed dailies, like or timed weeklies. Yeah, I just don't need that. Like I can make my to-dos and figure out when I want to do them. So I basically have my weekly to-dos, a menu, and then my daily list. And if I needed to, I can make a daily in my notes section. Otherwise, I can just go off of the weekly because some days you don't need a daily or I don't need a daily. So these are these weeks and I totally fell in love with this. I love how she set this up. And it worked really well for me. Being able to see the week on 2 pages and having enough space to plan most of my days, honestly. And then, yeah, this is, so I was injured and then I went away, so no planning. But this is what the blank week looked like. Yeah, I just numbered them and put the days. And then I highlighted later. More of no planning. This is the first week I think I started planning again. And this is this week, next week, and then all the rest of the blank weeks. So then if you go into the back, we have the key. So I always, or I have been using the bullet journal method, like loosely, I guess, just with the indicators. I find it really helpful. So yeah, I just made a little key there. And then I've been using an index to note important things that I might need to refer back to in my notes. I have some collections or lists of dinner options, movies to watch. I have quotes. This is, you're gonna see a ton of the workouts I planned out, and then I did them. Like tracked how I was doing with them. These are some dailies. This was planning for the trip I went on. I got a huge order from London Gifties and totally inspired by Daxina. If I'm saying that right, I'm sorry. But yeah, she has a huge collection from them and totally inspired me, and they're beautiful washies. This was outfit inspo. Let's see. More dailies. More workouts. This is in my frustration when I got injured. I was seeing what exercises I would be able to do. Random notes. Planning out 2022. Dailies, gift ideas. Dailies. And then this is planning Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that is today. So yeah, that's how I've been using it. And then in the back here, I have until 98, I have a little bit more to use, which should get me through to the rest of the year if I don't jump into my 2022 planner, which is very possible. This is, I keep track of things for work back here. So that's kind of, yeah, I'm gonna keep that private. And then this, so I always keep, I have, in every single planner, I always keep like personal information, like information about my grandmother's medications, my husband and myself, like our doctor info, social security numbers, and I just decided to print them out on smaller pages and put it in a little pocket back here. I have kept them in the back pocket of my Gilio, but this seems to work well, so I have that in this one, and I'll probably do something similar in next year. So this is a Gilio undyed that I have not been babying. I got it recently, but I love it. It's really a beautiful leather, and it's fun to watch it wear. Yeah, I'm not precious with it, and you can see that. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna finish out the year in. And then next year, what I'm thinking of doing is moving into a B6. And this was inspired by Sierra from SM Plans. I don't know really how she's using hers, but I saw that she had the day free. And I think I'm gonna try to use this as like my bullet journal for 2022. So how I'm thinking of doing it is basically having my 2023 plans here. I just put that over that. And like any dates I could put there because they're not gonna be a lot. So if there's a few, that's fine. Fitness, I could track here what workout I'm doing. And then monthly, I'm thinking of using, instead of having all the weeks set up in advance, because I don't really need all the weeks set up in advance technically, because I really just find it helpful when I have the week in front of me. So like I could do that on a Sunday or the week of, but I do need a place for future planning, and there isn't a ton of space here. But again, I don't have a ton of future planning, like with tasks that need to be done on a specific day. So if I do have those, the A5 monthly and the day free or in the cousin is big enough that I could put those in plus appointments plus bills, so that when I'm setting up the week, I'd be able to look at the week in advance and see what I need to include. And then what I was thinking of doing also is when I set up the weekly, I've done this in the past in my Stylogy, I could set up the weekly and have like a weekly overview, a this week task list, and next week task list. So if I know I have to do something next week, I could just put it there instead of trying to find space in the monthly to put it, if that makes sense. But basically I can use this for all future planning, unless it's a next week task, which I could put on the weekly in the next week section. And then, yeah, basically use this as a bullet journal. And then every week set up a new weekly overview referring back to my monthly to see if there's anything that needs to be done. I don't know if there'll be enough pages. There's, how many in the day free? Let's see, 170. But they are bigger pages, and I don't need weekly, not weeklies, dailies every single day. And if I do, I can always go into this book. So I just put this in the back. It's just an A5 from Hobonichi, just plain blank grid paper, same size as the day free. And it changes, like the color changes a few times of the graph. But yeah, so that is my tentative plan for now. I also have a Hobonichi weeks ordered just to play around with. I feel like I start one every year and never complete it because I love the layout of it. I just don't love the like how narrow it is for the rest of the year. I like having a bigger page to work on. So yeah, that is my plan for 2022. I'm gonna work on setting this up. But yeah, we'll see. I've been enjoying watching all of your 2022 plans and seeing what everyone else is doing. It's been really inspiring and nice to get back into planning now that my life has settled down a little bit. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.